Hello and welcome to Pricing Like a Pro. This is a workshop to look at how you're pricing your products or services and make sure that that you're pricing for profitability. So whether you're just starting out, whether you've been putting things out there based on competitor pricing, or you are offering a wider range of offers, stacks, or services, and you're not sure and you find your profit disappears even though you've done all the things and you think you're profiting right. This is a great way to dig in and see what's going on so you can feel really confident about your pricing and make sure you're profitable so you can continue to offer your wonderful products and services to the world. Okay, so we'll see. You should have downloaded the workbook so you can take notes as we go along, or just brainstorm things that may pop up for you as we're talking about things, and then also make a copy of this spreadsheet. You can find all the links in the same page, steps 1 and 2, where you found this video. So make sure you have those, and then, or if you don't, pause these and go grab them and then come back and we'll just walk right through it. So you'll see there are 2 tabs. We have the services calculator example and product pricing ranges. I'm going to talk first about the services calculator because this pretty much covers most of the concepts that you can turn around and then use with pricing your products. So let me expand this a little. And I've got some services here, some examples of services that a lot of our users offer using PageWheel as their tool. And I want to note that you may have a service that's a one-off thing, and you can do this in one row, but I want to go over the more complicated version so you can just run the exercise yourself. Even if it's a one-off thing, you may want to still do a service breakdown based on the various steps in your process for providing that service. And there's a reason why, even if you're doing everything yourself, as your business grows, you may want to replace yourself and hiring someone, and you want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success with that. Okay, so our example here is an audit. And let's say in our process, we have a client call where we've made the sale. Now we're telling them setting expectations, making sure they understand everything that they're going to receive, and giving them the intake form where we can get all the information we need in order to perform the audit of whatever kind that we're performing for them. So then that call, because they're going to have questions and we want to have lots of time to, dig into things and make sure always that we're setting expectations, right? That we know exactly what it is that they want, that they know exactly what they're getting, those things match. So they'll be super happy clients when they get the results, when they get the audit report at the end. So let's say, so we're going to say that takes 2 hours, and I'm a solopreneur and I'm having that, and I'm providing that service myself. So I charge $50 an hour for my time, but I may have a VA who's doing some of the rudimentary tasks for me, where they're just, our client is entering their information in the Google form, and then we have a process where a VA is going to take the information from that form and do some things with it, plug it into our calculators, into our spreadsheet, who knows what. It depends on your own process, but they're working at a different rate. I'm paying them differently than what I would pay myself as a marketing expert, where they're doing data entry. And then once they've done that, and they've produced this report according to my recipe, I'm going to review it, make sure it is accurate, that it's covered everything, that it's going to serve the goal of the client and myself in providing the service, and have the final report. So again, that's based on my expertise. So it's going to be at my rate. And then the client review call, where we provide them the report. and go over all the details, answer any questions they may have. Again, that's me, so it's going to be these hours. Now, there's also a high. So say I'm building a funnel or something like that, where I may have a tech person who, or some kind of specialist who's providing an additional service as a part of um, the overall service package that we're providing, and they may cost a higher rate. So that's the difference between the low, medium, high for the resource skill. And then simply it's simple math. Just how much does it cost us is the number of hours times the rate for that particular service or action. And then, so that gives us our labor costs. Our value markup, this is where we put in our multiplier for the package. And it's not just profit. I have net margin here, but remember, we're running a business. We have to account for taxes. We have to account for our overhead. We have to account for the tools that we use and the time that we take in managing our business of many clients, of which this is just one. And so you'll see I have, for the lower services, we have a multiplier of 5. This is just rule of thumb. You can do whatever you want, but I really recommend that you don't go below 3, just to account for taxes and overhead. And then for my services, I do a markup of ×4. For a specialist, I might do a ×3, depending on what their rate is, especially if it's over $100. And then, so net margin is just, here we go, with the markup minus the labor costs, and that is the margin for each of these individual services in the breakdown. And then just putting it all together, so what your numbers are, your total labor cost versus your markup and the net at the end of that. So seems we ran through that really fast, but if you've never done this, this is really powerful. Knowing your numbers, this is running your business for profit. And when you have all of these things laid out in front of you, make sure you're accounting for everything. It really just takes the stress out of pricing your services when you're putting together a proposal or anything like that. You don't need to spitball. You don't need to guess. You should never guess. And this will just take that pressure off and make it a little more fun when you start calculating this stuff, and you can see where it's going to end up at the end. Now, in the delivery email for this tutorial, there's also a link to our client intake form, which can help you greatly with getting all the information, setting expectations, making sure that you're really clear, because where can this go wrong? You can calculate all these numbers, but if your proposal is off, if your estimated hours are off, if you get scope creep because you haven't clarified, say, how many revisions a client may get for something, or you're not being accurate about the number of hours it takes your VA to do something. This may take some updating the first couple times you're in there. It's better if you can estimate accurately, but a very, very common mistake is over-enthusiastically assuming how much time it will take. Most people underestimate how much time it will take them to do something. So if you're doing this for the first time, whatever time you think it'll take, just double it to start with, and then you can always come back and revise it when you're doing your estimates and you have real data on what you're doing. So that is how you price a service package. Now, if you're offering more than one service, you would just continue to repeat this process for each of the various services that you have. And then you can pull it all together for a more comprehensive proposal. Now, for product pricing, the process is the same, only instead of a service breakdown, you would just change it to what are your costs of, say, if it's a product or a course, your course creation, the resources you use, customer service, those kind of things are more overheady, not a direct product thing. So instead of having a calculator, what I what I did here is for beginners. Usually it's just a straight up, I've made my thing. It's a digital product, so it's a made once and sell many times, but I don't know how to price it. And the funny thing about it is that price doesn't necessarily reflect value, meaning there's a lot of things out there that are being sold for high amounts that may not be delivering on their promise. And there are other things that are getting sold for not very much, but they're providing a ton of value for the customer. And this is what you want to get aligned on. It's like you want to make sure that the value you are offering, that your price is in alignment with that. So, and most people, if you're just starting out, price things too low. So don't be shy. Price it for what the kind of value you're providing to your customer. How much time are you saving? How much time is there worth? Well, I think my time when I'm doing my labor time inside my business is $50 an hour. So if you're saving me an hour of my time, booyah, $37, or this should be 47. This is a bargain for me, and I will just give you my money. And then if you go over that, it's like, I don't know. I could probably do it better than what I'm paying for if that's not actually doing something for me. So just keep that in mind. Remember, you are not your audience. So make sure that you're looking at it from, you want to put yourself in their shoes and price it accordingly. Now, so what this is, just to give you an idea, especially if you're just starting out, is a range of common prices for digital products. So in the low end here, these are typically, DIY, or they're small solutions to smaller problems. They might be a one-off tool or a simple thing to just speed things along for them, say a Canva template or something like that as well. So not necessarily as far as a tool or a resource goes for them. So, and I just wanted to put in here this question: profitable with ads. Not everybody is running ads, and not everybody's business model requires that they be profitable with ads for their low end items. They may have, their goal may be brand awareness. Their goal may be to build their email list, and they know that elsewhere in their value ladder or their portfolio of products that the average lifetime value of their customers will make up for it, even if they're, say, running ads at a loss for that one-off particular product. So not everybody's business model is the same. Keep that in mind. If you ever see an ad where you're like, how in the heck are they even running these ads? It may be because they have a different business model than what you were assuming. But you do want to keep that in mind. If you plan on running ads, you want to make sure that you are going to be profitable whichever way you're going about doing it, or know when you reach profitability with your ad spend. Okay, so in our next range, these are, some more of the low ticket items. These are often referred to as tripwires. They're the impulse buys, where people aren't really, it's not going to bust their budget. They don't really have to think about it. They're not spending that much money on it. And this is the thing that tells you if they are going to open their wallet for your products compared to the other things you may have in your value ladder or even in your funnel. Over here, so order bumps, I've seen it both ways. Sometimes they're less than the actual offer. Sometimes they're the next step in the value ladder. It works both ways, but order bumps, upsells, these are usually master classes, boot camps, and courses. They might be live, but they're not individualized. There's no custom work here. And usually if it's live, it's something you're going to do live once and then turn around and make it an evergreen funnel where you're still charging this much, but you're no longer putting your time into hosting that live workshop or whatever, because once it's recorded, you're done. So it's still relatively hands-off between you and your customers. As you move on up the value ladder, you'll see the more in-depth that it gets, the bigger the problem that it solves, the more hands-on time, the more personalized or customized service you're providing, the higher the price tag goes. So we have our 100 to 300 range, or $500. These, and the typical, I'm sure you've seen these typical prices. There's a whole psychology behind the ending in a 7 or a 9, and that's why you see those prices. But you'll see this is more courses. This may be more done with you, but because it's a lower price item, it's via community, say a Facebook group, or during office hours where anybody can jump in or not. And you're giving, you may be giving a workshop around particular topics for your community. So again, it's geared at the group in general and still not personalized to or customized to any one particular customer. And in fact, if you do have a community, it might be a temporary one in a pop-up style. But again, as the prices get higher, it's usually you're digging in deeper to solve that bigger problem or more complex problem, or saving them more time. You're still giving them more value as you're increasing the price for the thing that you're offering. $497, this is often the bigger courses, group coaching, business in a box. And again, as you go up, you'll see these look the same. I know they have the same description, but again, it's the level of detail that you're giving to them, and really the amount of value. So courses are not the same, group coachings are not the same. It may have to do with the frequency. It may have to do with the size of the group. There's all kinds of reasons why you may offer different price points for these. Or alternatively, it may be simply that you want to manage the size, and as you gain confidence, then you're going to throttle the demand by increasing your price and saving yourself time on things that you're doing. So there are different reasons why these might be the same thing, but your price goes up. And then once you start getting up here into the $2,000 range, 3 to 5K, you're generally more established. There's more, the done with you is starting to move into the done for you range for at least some of the elements in the package that you're offering them. There may be more one-on-one time. And then again, as the price goes up, now you're getting into where you're solving big problems. I mean, these are bigger business owners or customers that definitely, are expecting to get they're all expecting to get the value for what you're charging. And again, the bigger the problems, the bigger, the more it goes into the solution and the value of what you're offering to them. And then when you get up in here into the 10,000 plus, this is still big problems, but it may be a longer term. So you may be providing a service over a 12-month period or a 1 to 3 year contract period with reporting requirements. You may have a bigger team because it's a complex problem that you need more people with different areas of expertise to apply to this. All kinds of things, and you're generally these are bigger clients, right? So who have the spend for the bigger the problem, right? That they have. So this is just, like I said again, especially if you're just starting out, or if you've been spitballing prices just based on what your competitors are doing, but without the sound reasoning behind what you're pricing. The idea here is to really, you should feel confident about what you're pricing and why. And I would really want to encourage you, especially if you're starting out, like whatever it is you think you want to price it at, probably you need to double it at the very least, because what you have to offer has a lot of value to your future customers. And the biggest mistake that newcomers make is simply not putting enough value on the product or service that they're offering. And it's a confidence issue, but I believe in you. You should believe in you. Price it appropriately and or higher, because it's always easier to reduce a price on something than to raise a price. So bear that in mind. It can be a very, even if you're still going, I don't know, I was going to do one of these, be like, you know what? If you're not sure and you kind of see people here, but you really want to lean here because you're new, start here. And we're, because you can always reduce it. You can always offer a special, but you definitely don't want to start here and have good demand and be like, oh, it's selling like hotcakes, I'm going to raise the price. Well, everyone who bought it, everyone who's buying it here, if they see old things where it was priced here, they're going to get really mad, right? Or they're very assumed. Nobody ever gets mad if the price goes down. And anyway, so I just want to encourage you to, be confident in your pricing and have fun. This really takes the pressure off. You shouldn't feel like you're throwing spaghetti. You should feel really good about what you're doing with your numbers, and money can be very emotional, and this can really take that away and make sure that you are making really good business decisions. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful for you. Remember, you have forever access to this, and the links are in the email that we sent you there. And if you can't find them, you can always reach out to customer support and we can send them to you again. Have fun.